Welcome to Techstars Toronto 2020 Demo Day. My name is Sunil Sharma. I am the Managing Director of Techstars Toronto. Techstars is the global platform for investment and innovation. At Techstars, we have run more than 200 accelerator programs worldwide. We have more than 5,000 founders in our private network. We have a total portfolio value of $25 billion, and we are ranked as the #1 investor in the world on Crunchbase by investor volume. Now, you may have taken notice, this is a virtual demo day. We are not in person at the CBC Broadcasting Centre. You are not in an auditorium filled with investors waiting to book meetings with some or all of these companies so as to become partners in their journey beyond Techstars. But because of, well, life, you are looking at your computer screens or your mobile phones from your spot, which may be anywhere in Canada or across the world. This, I must say, is a bit poetic because these 10 companies are also from across Canada and the world. You may be physically closer to them than we are if you happen to live near Lagos, Nigeria, or Krakow, Poland, or Istanbul, Turkey, or Vancouver, British Columbia, or Wawa, Ontario. Look it up. Of course, Toronto is still in its moment. We have plenty of homegrown startups to show you as well. They are founded by Canadian-born and immigrant entrepreneurs, by men and by women, by serial founders and first-time entrepreneurs. Toronto is attracting record numbers of people from across the world and even from nearby countries. Our city is booming and tech jobs continue to be created. Our beloved Raptors continue to win and defend as world champions. We are following good common sense by listening to our health officials and leaders as we keep the COVID-19 numbers within reason, as we wait for innovation to save the world. And innovation will save the world. That is what we are most excited about here today, as we introduce you to 10 incredible presenters who will each take a few minutes to share with you their vision of a better world. Techstars Toronto is a city program, which we will deliver today in collaboration with Real Ventures, one of Canada's leading early-stage investment funds. Now, as a city program, we are able to select companies from any industry vertical and from any geographical location. As such, you will soon be taken around the world to see disruptive innovation at its best. To get the companies to this point, we had a lot of help. We called out to our community of mentors who did not ask for anything from us in return other than the opportunity to listen and to help. Mentors are the fuel that Techstars puts into companies to accelerate their growth and to raise their trajectories. That is a critical part of what an accelerator is: mentorship combined with networks and capital. We have incredible global partners at Techstars that help our nearly 50 accelerators across the world. These are not just logos, they are powerful organizations that are purpose-built to help startups grow, and we're lucky to have them as they engage with our companies, provide their software and tools, host seminars and talks, and connect our companies to their global networks. Well, before I get too carried away, I want to make sure that I recognize our small but powerful team here in Toronto. In this era with large innovation budgets and programming, I'm incredibly pleased to recognize our 2 talented and upwardly climbing associates, Stephania and Judy. Judy is already off to do her MBA at Columbia in New York City, and Stephania will be making her next announcement very soon. Now, Techstars Toronto would not work without our exceptional program director and my colleague from day one, Tariq Hadadin. Tariq is a force of nature, and anyone who knows him will immediately agree. So Tariq and I are the day-to-day people year-round at Techstars Toronto. We are eager to meet you, to spend time with you, and we look forward to your application or referrals to others to help us get positioned for Techstars Toronto 2021. And now, please meet our founders.
Hi, my name is Human. I am the co-founder and CTO of Artboard Studio. My co-founder and I started a company in Turkey in which we sold thousands of design assets to over 200,000 designers from all around the world, including corporations like Microsoft, Sony PlayStation, and Squarespace, to name a few, amassing over $1 million in revenue in just 3 years. We talked to our top customers and realized something was missing. Content was separated from the tool, designers could not collaborate with each other and their clients, and existing tools were hard to learn and expensive. And so Artboard Studio was born amid the decade of design. Artboard Studio is an online graphic design and animation platform for digital branding and content creation. It's a collaborative environment bundled with thousands of useful mockups, assets, and templates. It helps designers save time and money by managing their workflow faster and more effectively. In a market mainly dominated by Adobe, companies like Canva and Figma emerged and soon became giants by liberating design and collaboration for all, enticing their users to leave expensive and complex Adobe products for a better, less expensive, and easier to use browser-based software. We aim to disrupt the same market for digital branding. Today, we have more than 30,000 monthly active users ranging from freelance designers to SMBs and enterprises such as Fiverr.com and P&G, who have collectively created more than 700,000 projects on Artboard Studio. Here's how it works. Artboard is fast. A project that normally takes 1 hour to finish in other apps can be done in less than 5 minutes in our app. It is flexible. Everything can be easily customized and animated. Artboard has a massive built-in library of assets, helping designers only focus on creativity rather than hunting for assets on the internet. You can collaborate with other designers and your clients in real time. Asset management is a breeze in Artboard. You store once and reuse across multiple projects. Artboard is more capable yet easier to use compared to existing apps on the market. It has the proficiency of Photoshop and the ease of use of Canva, making it the one-stop design platform for digital branding and content creation. Everything can be animated in Artboard, allowing designers to create eye-catching videos and animations. We are just getting started. So far, our growth has been totally organic. In fact, we launched 3 times on Product Hunt, and every time we became the #1 product of the day and the week. And we were trending several times on TikTok too. We are a software as a service with an affordable plan for all designers. We charge our users $15 per user per month. Design software industry in the US alone is $13.4 billion, while the global market size of graphic design industry is a whopping $44.8 billion. We have over 1,500 paying customers, generating more than $20,000 in MRR and growing 12% month over month. We are a team of 6 creative people. We love design and we cherish its value. My co-founder, Mujahid, is a fine arts graduate with more than 16 years of experience in design. I was a designer for over 7 years before falling in love with computer programming. Together, we've already built one successful business, and now we are taking it to the next level. We're also planning on hiring a growth manager to help us grow even faster. Majority of our customers are in North America. So we have decided to grow our business closer to our users. In fact, Artboard Studio is now a Canadian company. Our journey started in Istanbul, Turkey, and we shall soon continue it in Toronto, Canada, a true bastion of thriving global startups. Are you interested in taking part in the future of digital branding? Let's talk. Thank you.
%80 of the brain's development happens in the first 3 years of life. And yet for most parents, they struggle to understand if their baby is progressing at the right pace. Hi, I'm Miriam, co-founder and CEO of Babbly. At Babbly, we're changing the way parents track a child's development, starting with speech and language. Millennials make up 80% of first-time parents every year, and they're far more data-driven in their parenting than any other generation. This has led to the creation of a $60 billion parenting economy in US and China alone. They use smart baby monitors and wearables to track their child's sleep, heart rate, even diaper change. But when it comes to their baby's brain development, they're stuck with paper checklists that haven't changed since the 1960s. This leaves them feeling scared and confused about how their baby is developing relative to its peers, and in many cases results in early red flags being overlooked and undiagnosed. I experienced this firsthand when my son was 11 months old. I noticed he was not meeting his verbal milestones like saying mama. After being told to wait and see by my doctor and feeling helpless for nearly a year, I pushed to get the coaching and the support needed to help him talk and communicate his basic needs. This is the story of millions of parents who either feel their concerns are not taken seriously by their primary physician or end up in the long wait list to get services. We are going to change that. At Babbly, we're using the baby's voice as a proxy for brain development and give parents actionable data to promote their child's positive growth. Here's how we do it. Through an AI-enabled mobile app, parents can upload a video of their child and get an instant analysis of their language skills. Using machine learning, we analyze a child's utterance and compare it with known benchmarks. We then provide parents with personalized recommendations that will help them promote communication, literacy, and social skills. All activities are written by experts and have proven to improve communication outcomes through parent training. For the parents that want more, Babbly connects them to a pool of coaches who can support them with video consultation and weekly programs. We have partnered with pediatricians and coaches from over 7 states in North America and growing. Now, you might be asking, how is this going to work with different languages and dialects? Here is a fun fact. All babies go through the exact same stages and patterns of language development regardless of their mother tongue. This means our AI scales across languages much faster than a language-based voice technology. Our business model is a hybrid of monthly subscription fee and in-app purchases for coaching programs where parents can get a personalized curriculum and continuous support for their child. This can all be done without a need for a doctor's referral. And in the near future, we believe the real opportunity is in licensing Babbly's AI through integration with hardware devices, such as baby monitors, smart speakers, and cameras. Speech and language pathology alone is a $4 billion industry. We have partnered with pediatric clinics, childcare centers, and social media influencers to get Babbly in the hands of millennial parents and help them accelerate their child's development. Since launching our beta version, over 85% of parents reported they've seen improvements in their child's language and social skills. People like CJ, who was worried about her daughter's speech and felt at ease after she tested her voice using Babbly. Or Adam, who found a new way to support his son's development through Babbly's custom recommendations. Babbly is developed by a strong team of technology and product executives. My co-founder, Carla, is a former Amazon Alexa engineer who spent her entire career on voice technology as a machine learning scientist. Shane is a roboticist with deep experience in application of AI in healthcare, and I spent a decade in product development, helping companies such as Samsung develop their next generation wearables and NASA to create better communication tools between their engineers. It's time to change how we track a child's development, and Babbly is on a mission to become parents' source of truth for the right information at the right time. If you want to join our journey of parent empowerment, please reach out, as I would like to hear from you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sławek Potash. I am the founder and CEO of Car Scanner. What does Car Scanner do? I'll give you 5 guesses. Well, you've most probably guessed it. Yes, it scans cars. Let me explain you why this is important. For years, car salespeople have gotten a bad rap. They're often described as pushy and even untruthful, which puts many car buyers on the defensive from the very beginning. The online used car marketplaces are booming right now due to the pandemic. This online shift is here to stay. In the online world, trust and transparency are essential as we make big car purchases online. There are about 6 million cars being auctioned annually in the US alone. This means 6 million cars being manually graded against the standard by car dealers who already have a bad reputation. This manual grading is prone to human error that leads to over $1 billion loss in undetected damages every single year in the US. Let me rephrase that. It is 2020, we have self-driving cars, hydrogen cars, we have cars in space, yet we still have thousands of car salespeople walking around the cars every day, taking pictures of car damages and noting them on a piece of paper. This is ridiculous. That's why at Car Scanner, we're revolutionizing a $100 billion industry with precise, standardized, and machine learning enabled robotized car documentation system. We provide our customers with embeddable players that are put on their websites so that their customers can see a comprehensive 360-degree overview of cars' exterior and interior virtual tour as well. Let me show you how Car Scanner works. An autonomous robot moves automatically around the car in just 2 minutes and creates high-quality body documentation. At the same time, the interior scanning module creates a virtual interior tour as well. With this technology, we increase the online conversion rate for our customers with great-looking car documentation, and we lower their operational costs by robotizing car documentation. Our competitors are huge, bulky, legacy drive-through light tunnels which use over 20 cameras, take up to 1,000 square feet to set up, and cost $100,000 plus. Unlike our competitors, Car Scanner provides affordable and easy-to-use robot that's deployed with activation fee that covers our production costs, and then we charge per every vehicle being scanned during the 2-year contract duration. As a company, we're scanning 1,300 cars a month. We've generated $300,000 in revenue in the last 12 months. We have POC with Porsche, and we have other car manufacturers and car auctioning companies in our pipeline as well. Car Scanner is a Canadian company where tech is being built by extraordinary team of software, electrical, and mechanical engineers located in Poland. We treat this as our unfair advantage. Low burn rate while having outstanding quality to price ratio in every single dollar spent on research and development. In fact, Poland has 3rd best software engineers in the world, according to Business Insider. For example, Maciek, our CTO, has over 10 years of experience as a full-stack developer and CTO. Isabel, our COO, is ex-Procter & Gamble and ABB engineer. I am the CEO, a mechatronic engineer with background in cameras. We are a team of 12 people, and 10 of us are engineers. If you want to learn more about Car Scanner or you want to be a part of our journey, please reach out to me. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Joe, the CEO and co-founder of Fable, the home decor brand that makes it easy to upgrade your space. Designed in Vancouver, crafted in Portugal. Like most millennials, I purchased my first set of homeware at IKEA. It was easy. The experience was simple, those Swedish meatballs, fantastic, but what they don't do is sell products that I could be proud of or would last long term. However, for the price point, it made sense at the time. Now, I'm a bit older, I had just bought my first place, and I wanted something high quality that I could show off to my friends and post on Instagram. So I turned to the classic stores, Pottery Barn, West Elm, Crate and Barrel. And do you know what I found? It's neither easy nor enjoyable. Most products in these stores are dated, overpriced, and I couldn't relate to their brand. I left these stores feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. And what we found in our research is I wasn't alone. 75% of millennials feel this way when trying to upgrade their home. We've also found that 72% want to spend their money on brands that they can relate to, brands that are value-driven and inspirational, like Mejuri for jewelry, Away for travel, Brooklinen for the bedroom. The traditional home decor stores haven't adjusted for millennials, and in fact, we now make up 61% of the $232 billion market. Fable is now the brand millennials turn to upgrade their home. We launched Fable in late 2019 with our first product category, dinnerware. And in just 48 hours, we had completely sold out. Now, still in our first year, we're at a $2.5 million run rate, growing at 15% month over month with a 45% contribution margin. All done with a $22 customer acquisition cost. And we're profitable on first sale with a 7-to-1 LTV to CAC. The home decor market is clamoring for more Fable products. With over 1,500 orders fulfilled, we've only ever had 13 returns. Here's how we do it. First, our products are aligned with millennials' needs, products that are artisan crafted and accessibly priced. Because we design every product to match, this takes any challenge out of curating a beautiful space. Fable looks like it's something out of a magazine, and in just 4 clicks, you can create the perfect table setting. Second, our brand is value-driven. Over 2020, we've built a community, an audience, who values and relates to how we operate. We partner with artisans who think about the world in the same way we do. Sustainability, ethical craftsmanship, transparency are at the forefront of every decision we make. Third, we make the purchasing experience easy and enjoyable. Leveraging the best technology and our team's expertise in user experience, the customer journey at Fable feels personalized and simple. And I'm excited to share, starting today, through the use of virtual reality, you can see Fable products on your table before you purchase them, taking any guesswork out of how Fable fits into your home. Built by a team of startup veterans, we've been a part of scaling startups, building customer success teams, and held senior leadership positions. Our team members also have experience from well-known startups and direct-to-consumer brands like Airbnb, Brooklinen, and Everlane. We've also welcomed 2 of the largest direct-to-consumer founders as Fable advisors, the co-founder of Mejuri, a leading jewelry brand, and the co-founder of Vitruvi, an essential oils and wellness company. As we gaze into 2020 and 2021, we expect people to continue to dine at home more than ever. We plan to continue to expand our products across more areas of the table and home, soon to be a part of every great dinner party, family picnic, and wine night. At Fable, we're on a relentless pursuit to make outfitting your entire home easy and enjoyable. If you would like to change home decor retail with us, I'd love to connect. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gurjot, the founder and CEO of Genie Health. Did you know that 60% of calories in the American diet come from highly processed food? The foods they are eating are high in calories and low in micronutrients, which leaves 90% of them deficient in one or more nutrients. That's why Americans spend a whopping $48 billion a year on supplements, and sales have skyrocketed from COVID-19. With over 85,000 different products on the market, most people are completely clueless about what supplements they need to take and when to take them. Genie Health is disrupting the wellness industry with personalized products and data-driven insights that help us live healthier lives. And we are starting with the revolutionary Smart Multivitamin that's as unique as you are. We do this by aggregating and tracking individual health data. I'm talking about your DNA, your lifestyle, what you eat, your health goals, to create a vitamin that's made just for you. It's so smart that if you had an identical twin, you would both have a unique formulation. How cool is that? And this is the perfect timing for Genie Health. Quantified self-movement has exploded. Millions are taking health into their own hands. They are getting DNA tests, they are doing their own blood work, and are using wearable health trackers like the Apple Watch. With this surge in data, how can Genie use this data? Well, let me show you how it works. Meet Sandy. She always feels tired and bloated. She has been using the Genie Health app for a few weeks to track her diet, her sleep, and understand her genetic health risks, and even track her poop. Yes, we have a poop tracker in the app. Genie shows her that loose bowels may be a sign of inflammation from lack of sleep, stress, and not enough exercise. And that's impacting her gut health and making her feel tired and bloated. We make a fully customized dose for her multivitamin subscription and match her with the best probiotic supplements. The more data that Sandy tracks with the Genie app, the more personalized her vitamins become. And the more user data that Genie gathers, the better our algorithms become. Our unique approach is working, and we are growing fast. We have over 62,000 people on our platform, and 30,000 have already connected their DNA data. Our vitamin sales are growing 30% month over month with an 83% resubscription rate. Our average order is $65 per month for subscription. Our market opportunity is huge. There are 50 million people in our target market who have already done a DNA test, and they spend $672 on vitamins every year. That's a $10 billion in immediate market potential. There is no other health and product platform that knows how their customers eat, move, and sleep as we do. This approach has gained the attention of direct-to-consumer health brands who want to deliver personalized health transformations to their customers. I'm happy to announce our new partnership with one of the best Canadian probiotics brands, Genuine Health. We track their customers' gut health and send them personalized multivitamins. This partnership is just the beginning. We can provide huge value to these brands, allowing us to acquire customers at scale. My team is passionate and experienced, and we all have a deeply personal reason for being on this mission. My friend Tarun died of cancer at 28. Inspired by grief, I started researching ways to help people live healthier and longer lives. That led me to start Genie Health. Our medical expert, Dr. Sarah Seidelman, is an internal medicine doctor with a PhD in nutrition and genetics and a professor at Columbia University. Miguel has been an early tech member of 2 Toronto successful startups. And Reeth has built a unicorn in India and is now leading our business and operations. If you want to help us create a happier, healthier, data-driven world, book a call with me. I'm Gurjot, and I want you to join us on our mission. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, I'm Anya, the CEO of Lively, a platform designed to create a better working world for freelancers. 10 years ago, my co-founder Adam and I successfully built, then exited Canada's first advertising agency exclusively using freelance talent. Working with this group, we recognized that freelancing can be so rewarding, but it can also suck, and there are real challenges impacting their livelihood. And today, I want you to meet Eric. Eric is a freelance designer. Along with 26 million other professional freelancers in North America, Eric is forced to choose between the dental work he needs and the vacation he wants. He chooses whether to spend his time chasing payments or doing work. Things get real when Eric needs a sick day. Does he recover from illness or financial uncertainty? Can you imagine having to make these kinds of choices while being employed? These problems run so deep, and this segment is so large that even slow-moving entities like our government are being forced to adapt policies and social supports available to these individuals. Freelancers like Eric don't have benefits, they don't have paid leave, and don't know when the next check will arrive. Despite the fact that the freelance economy will account for more than half the workforce in 6 years, there are major lags in technology and solutions available to actually solve these challenges. As a full-time freelancer, Eric earns $60,000. He would part with up to 3% of that just to collect payments online. He would spend weeks searching and qualifying for a health and dental plan and pay up to 5 times what a group policy would cost. This is why Lively exists today. We literally put money back into the pockets of freelancers. We save them time and effort in managing payments and getting benefits so they can focus on doing what they love. These are the things that matter. Lively helps freelancers access free benefits and paid days off by embedding costs into their invoices that are processed through our platform. We give Eric and his clients easy and intuitive tools to request and transfer payments. For the first time ever, Eric will proactively include coverage for his benefits, paid leave, and payment processing within his hourly rate. This simple action creates a world where these forced choices don't exist. And together with Manulife, Canada's largest and longest standing insurance provider, a leader in international financial services, we are thrilled to introduce the first of its kind, Lively exclusive group benefits product for independent workers. Eric's Lively Fund grows with each transaction, and sick days become a thing. We track his payments and incentivize his clients so his cash flow is more predictable. For Eric, we are an advocate, and our connection to him and his livelihood is what will earn us reputation and revenue. We do this through a monthly membership subscription, a percentage of each transaction, and as we continue to build and scale strategic partnerships, we'll open additional revenue streams. This grows with each member, and this market opportunity is huge. Compounded by the surging unemployment and business restructuring required from COVID-19, we are on the brink of another mass explosion of freelance. Professional freelancers today represent $450 billion in transactional volume and are the 4th largest producer of GDP. Our business is built around the transactions between freelancers and their clients. We capitalize on the value we create for Eric and the freelance community. Our powerhouse team of successful entrepreneurs and past freelancers are experts at engaging consumers and have robust partnership and paid plans in place to drive rapid growth for Lively. Adam and I share a deep understanding of this market, a passion for change, and have the drive to make great things happen. With a proven track record and having grown our former business 1,300% over 8 years to be listed as Canada's 54th fastest growing company, we are ready to do this again. We've been here before. We're comfortable with introducing a new way to work, and above all, Eric's success is our success. We are creating a better working world for freelancers. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Bell, and I am the founder and CEO of Mayday. Mayday is a platform that helps busy people make better use of time. It's a calendar that cares about you, helping you sustainably increase your productivity while reducing the potential for burnout. Now, I know firsthand what it feels like to burn out. After successfully exiting my first startup, the idea for Mayday was born while working at Facebook, where I helped create the Portal and Portal TV products. And during that time, my entire team and I burned out. This happened because we were in meetings all day, every day, which meant that we had to do our work after work. It was completely unsustainable. And there's a good chance you've experienced this yourself as well, because 77% of all busy professionals are overworked and overstressed. The majority are not making enough time for health and fitness. Half do not get enough sleep. Why? Because our calendars look like this. The calendars that we use today are all fundamentally the same. They are passive ledgers that are easily overloaded. And in the modern workplace, they act more like a sponge that absorbs the things that other people want you to spend time on. And this has only gotten worse since the COVID outbreak. As we adapt to new ways of working, we must also rethink the ways that we manage our time. We need new tools that consider our overall well-being so we can sustainably achieve our long-term goals. We call this empathetic productivity, and Mayday was created to solve this. For instance, in Mayday, you don't schedule meetings, you make time for things. With Calendar Shield, Mayday keeps an eye on how many meetings you have during the week. If a particular day starts to fill with too many, it automatically blocks the remaining time before you can get overloaded. Of course, everyone's job is different, so if you're a manager, you can adjust for more meetings, but if you're a maker, like a software developer, you can adjust for more focus time. Routines are like smart recurring events. If you want to make time for things like monthly one-on-ones with your team, sales calls, or even date night with your spouse, Mayday makes sure there's always space in your schedule, even when your calendar starts to fill up. By aggregating the data in your existing personal and work calendars, Mayday develops an understanding of the actual demands on your time and what's important to you as an individual. The entire Mayday team is passionate about solving this problem. Brian, my co-founder and our CTO, also worked with me on the Portal products, and previously he spent more than 12 years in the gaming industry. Our COO was the associate director at the Creative Destruction Lab. There, he worked with hundreds of tech startups, but he chose to join Mayday after we graduated from it in May. Our lead engineer has shipped over 20 iOS apps, and our lead designer was previously at Ecobee. Collectively, we have been trusted to design and build products for some of the top companies in the world, and every one of us has burnt out at least once in our career. 95% of busy professionals rely on a digital calendar every day, while the global productivity software market is projected to be $96 billion by 2025. The opportunity to reimagine the calendar is massive. For a small monthly fee, Mayday gives you a way to take back control of your schedule, establishing a greater work-life balance and making time for what matters most to you. And if you're a leader inside of an organization, Mayday will soon offer ways for you to support your entire team. To get Mayday into the hands of people who feel burnout the most, we are partnering with leading executive coaches and HR professionals. And because of how Mayday interfaces with your existing calendar, there is also an organic virality built right into the product. Mayday is currently available as a closed beta, but even in these early stages, our initial experiments are showing promising signs that Mayday can effectively help combat burnout. For example, one of our early users said, "Calendar Shield would have been a lifesaver a few years ago when I was at Shopify. I can imagine many of my old coworkers loving this today." And calendars are just the start. As we look to the future, Mayday will also utilize health data such as sleep patterns, exercise, and heart rate variability so it can account for the physical effects of poor productivity habits and predict burnout before it becomes serious. Our mission is to fundamentally improve the sustainability of the workforce, and we want to work with people like you to help make it a reality. If you're up for this challenge, let me know, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Thanks.
In 2018, global catastrophic events such as flood and fire have resulted in aggregate losses of $25 to $30 billion for commercial property insurance companies. And this number is growing exponentially each year. To support these losses, commercial insurance carriers employ thousands of highly paid risk engineers to review and analyze commercial buildings for potential risks. To estimate the risk for a single insurance account, a team of engineers will have to spend over 400 hours reviewing thousands of pages of property documents before they can confidently determine the insurance premium to charge. As a result, the commercial property insurance industry is facing an enormous problem with data overload. We produce 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every single day. In fact, 90% of the world's data has been generated in just the past 2 years alone. And this is not slowing down. New technologies such as IoT and on-person wearables are allowing us to collect real-time data faster than ever. Yet, the manual and error-prone and repetitive process performed by risk engineers to synthesize risk summary reports has not changed in decades. Hi, my name is Jack, and I am a co-founder and the CEO of Orbiseed. Orbiseed has built an AI-powered platform that supercharges commercial property risk assessment by enabling engineers to efficiently summarize their building data at lightning speed and with pinpoint accuracy. Within 3 years of implementation, Orbiseed AI can reduce the risk engineering department cost by up to 90%, which is equivalent to $21.6 million in savings for the insurance carrier each year. Here is how it works. The Orbiseed platform securely retrieves property inspection files directly from the content management systems that insurance companies use. Then, our patent-pending machine learning process will identify key information from these documents that are important for risk assessment. Finally, our AI synthesizes a fully customizable risk summary report by combining information from multiple sources into a single, concise executive summary. So, what makes Orbiseed unique from other solutions on the market? Our process complements the insurance company's existing workflow and acts as a supercharger. This allows us to provide the extra set of eyes for their risk assessment, giving the engineers the confidence they need in their decision making. Orbiseed also has a pricing model that is tailored to the needs of the insurance companies by charging a monthly fee that scales with usage. This gives consistency that fit well in an annual budgeting process for insurance companies while leaving plenty of room for growth and seasonal fluctuations. We target commercial property insurance companies through direct sales and their risk engineering companies that services them. We have spoken to over 100 professionals in this vertical, and all of them have expressed interest in supercharging their risk assessment team using our technology. We're already working on 2 paid pilots, making over $400,000 in recurring revenue, and there are 6 more in discussions. As of today, we've extracted over 183,000 data points, with recent week-on-week growth of 9% in the past 12 weeks. What makes us the proudest of our strong and diverse team? I am a 3rd-generation engineer and a multi-time founder with previous startup experiences in virtual reality and computer vision. Ting Cheng is our CTO and a software genius, and is a nationally acclaimed programmer, winning at various programming competitions. Jim, Orbiseed's president and CMO, comes from a corporate executive background and have built a $200 million business throughout his career. And many of our 14-member team have experiences working at other technology startups before joining the Orbiseed family. Orbiseed is transforming how insurance companies assess property risk and supercharging it with cutting-edge AI technology. We invite everyone who is interested in this mission to reach out to us. Orbiseed, property risk analysis supercharged.
We have all seen the sampling carts at Costco. where people line up to try a new snack, or young students in front of Scotiabank Arena handing out free products after live events. You may think these are fruitless marketing activities, but these efforts have been proved to be very effective. In fact, 50% of people that sample a product will actually buy the product and recommend it to 4 other people. This makes product sampling the main sales driver for consumer packaged goods companies. In beauty alone, samples are the 3rd largest driver of product purchases. Hi, my name is Milad Zabihi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of PeakAge, and we're changing how brands can give a taste of their products to consumers. Last year alone, consumer packaged goods companies spent close to $70 billion on product sampling. Yet this powerful sales channel has not been disrupted by technology or data. For years, brands have struggled with product sampling efforts, unable to target the right audience, track sales, or leverage data. Good or bad, as a consequence of this pandemic, the traditional sampling channels are gone. Nobody will feel safe to try in-store samples anytime soon. And with the exploding demand from direct-to-consumer brands on e-commerce platforms such as Shopify wanting to get in front of customers, this becomes an even bigger opportunity. PeakAge is here to reinvent product sampling by making it data-driven and accessible to all brands. Consumers sign up on PeakAge app to discover new products and share their opinion and voice with brands. We make this fun and easy by designing highly contextual surveys that users can respond to in a few seconds. Through these rapid surveys, users are rewarded with PeakAge coins, which they can exchange for free personalized offers. With these collected user responses, we build a comprehensive user profile that brands can leverage to create hyper-targeted campaigns using over 200 consumer attributes, such as age, income, diet, lifestyle, hair and skin type, and many more. This is the first time brand managers can target beyond demographics in their sampling campaigns. Tracking has always been the missing piece in sampling, so we fixed it. With PeakAge, brands can track consumers and measure their sales conversion or social media engagement. The PeakAge Analytics engine will turn consumer data coming from different sources into actionable insights, enabling brands to know their user base, optimize their marketing message, and improve their product or services. Since our launch in May of this year, we've seen tremendous growth in our user base, and today we have organically reached 10,000 users. We recently started our sales engine and have since signed 5 brands in Canada and Europe with an additional 200 high-quality leads in the pipeline. We're also in discussion with 2 enterprises to run pilots. We charge brands a fixed monthly subscription fee for access to data and analytics, plus $1 per reach to consumers. To address the shipping cost challenge faced by small direct-to-consumer brands when running sampling campaigns, we have partnered with retailers and shipping aggregators to piggyback off of their current distribution by inserting a sample in each box they are delivering. As a result, we reduce sampling shipping costs by 80%. Through our partners, in Canada alone, we built a huge distribution capacity of 500,000 items per month. While there are few other companies in this field, PeakAge is uniquely positioned to be a leader in the product sampling space for 3 reasons. We built a 2-way instant communication with the user through our mobile app. We have trusted first-hand data coming from the users themselves for hyper-targeting and retargeting. And we are the only platform measuring the ROI of sampling campaigns. We are also going to scale our sales by leveraging our Shopify plugin, shipping partners, inbound marketing strategy, and our user base by partnership with high-traffic e-retailers and media platforms. This is only made possible by our amazing team at PeakAge. My co-founder Sina and I have previously built 2 startups, onboarded more than 20 million users, and grew them into multi-million-dollar businesses. Our team has tackled big problems in tech, data, and design in some of the largest tech enterprises in the world. We have deep experience in business and technology, so we know what it takes to be successful, what it takes to scale, and how to build deep data-driven tech. PeakAge is bringing data to the forefront of digital product sampling. Join us in helping brands replicate the retail experience for consumers at home. Thank you.
Over $650 billion was sent into and within Africa last year alone, and 15% of that was processed with cryptocurrency. That's 97.5 billion. Now, imagine there was an alternative infrastructure that could process all of these volumes powered by cryptocurrency with instant settlement and for only a fraction of what it costs today. My name is Buchi, and I am the CEO at Quidax. We make it simple and secure for businesses and individuals in Africa to buy and sell cryptocurrency using their local currency. Since we launched in 2018, we've seen over 120,000 people and businesses trust and use Quidax for their cryptocurrency transactions. And this has led to us processing millions of dollars in transactions. And we've been growing at 30% month over month. It's been very interesting for us to see the type of stuff people are doing with cryptocurrency via our platform, from hedging against local currency devaluation, to parents paying their kids' tuition in Canada, to businesses sending and receiving payments for goods and services. Let me walk you through the Quidax experience. First, simply go to quidax.com, create a free account, verify your identity, and once that's approved, you're now able to buy and sell instantly. We've been able to differentiate ourselves via our unique banking, payment, and regulatory relationships. And in our bid to improve our regulatory integrity, I'm excited to announce to you today that we're now a Canadian headquartered company, and we've obtained the money service business license from FINTRAC Canada. What this means is that we will now be able to connect the North American and African corridor in a way that has never been done before. This corridor was responsible for over $30 billion in transactions last year. We make money by charging an average transaction fee of 0.5%, and we're cash flow positive. We started out to build a simple exchange, but we quickly realized that the financial problems in Africa need for there to be an alternative infrastructure for payment settlement, and we built Quidax to be that infrastructure. That's why I'm so glad to announce to you today that this infrastructure is now live, and we've onboarded over 200 merchants on the API, including some banks. This will mean that transactions that took up to 3 days to settle before can now settle instantly. And instead of costing between 6 to 9%, it will now cost under 1%. Our journey has been very exciting, and I'm glad that we have some of the best and brightest on for the ride with us. Our CTO, Uzo, has over 10 years experience leading technical teams. Maurice, our CIO, has over 8 years experience architecting fintech solutions, and he has one exit under his belt. I have over a decade experience in the finance industry and building businesses. And together we lead an amazing and inspiring team of 22 talented people. Now let's take a step back to think about the power of what we're building. The future of finance in Africa has to be built on tomorrow's technology. Join us as we bring the power of the blockchain to those who need it the most. Thank you.
That was incredible, wasn't it? I am blown away by the caliber of these companies, by the quality of those pitches, and by the tenacity of these founders. Let's recap what we just heard. We saw a company that is booking millions of dollars in transaction volume already per month and is experiencing tremendous growth serving global financial markets. We heard from a company that already has tens of thousands of monthly active users in what could be the hottest space in tech, collaborative design. A company that is providing new robotic and scanning technologies to ride the wave of online car marketplaces and auction houses. A company that is disrupting the pen and paper way that insurance companies conduct their risk assessment of buildings for their multi-million-dollar insurance policies. A company that is finally providing a way to give health benefits to freelance workers to keep them and us safe. A company that is defining new consumer categories for millennials to shop online for beautiful things that they need in their homes and condos. a company that is digitizing and bringing data science to the age-old world and multi-billion-dollar industry of product sampling. A company that is introducing sanity back into our lives by bringing innovation to the one tool we use every day, which needs it more than anything else, our calendars. A company that is analyzing the universality of baby talk in the home by using AI in a way that will help parents detect speech and language difficulties before they become impactful. And finally, we witnessed innovation already being delivered to tens of thousands of subscribers as they disrupt the massive global industry of vitamins and nutritional supplements by actually using our own personalized health data. So those were the pitches, but we're not quite finished. We want more. We're now going to go and turn to some quick panel talks, which will include each of our presenting founders, who will answer a few pressing questions and also give you a chance to get to know them just a little bit better. We want you to meet them, and they want to meet you. And as you may have heard, we have a very special guest with us today, Lance Armstrong. He needs no introduction or context. Lance will be joining us shortly in conversation with Lionel Conacher and our very own Janet Bannister. So now let me turn it back over to Tarek, who will start the first panel with the founders of both Mayday and Genie Health.
Well, thank you, Sunil, and welcome to all of you joining us from home, whether you're in Canada or around the world. I'm excited to kick off with both Jeremy Bell and Gurjot, the CEOs and co-founders of Mayday and Genie. So guys, we're talking, and the companies that you're building are in the space of well-being, burnout, and just kind of taking care of ourselves, really, for the most part. So looking at the last decade, technological advances have really increased productivity and created a lot of efficiencies at work. Yet we continue to see burnout on the rise. So what do you think are some of the contributing factors to this increased stress and burnout at work and in the personal life? And maybe Jeremy, we'll start with you.
Sure. So, I mean, I think this trend's been going on for quite a while. I think one of the bigger kind of issues is that it's been increasingly easy for your coworkers to see your schedule, see your calendar, and schedule things into your day. And it's been a bit of a compounding problem where, like, as you get busier and you need to find time to work with your coworkers, it becomes increasingly difficult to find time, and therefore you just kind of keep jamming it into your coworkers' day, and it kind of snowballs from there. It becomes very difficult to actually, like, get ahead of it. And I think that's probably one of the main contributing factors, that challenge of I'm in meetings all day, but then I also have to get stuff done, and there not being enough time during the day to actually get it done.
Yeah. And Gurjot, what's your take on kind of this shift that we've been seeing?
I think we have slowly moved into this 24/7 culture where it's always on. So you have your devices on yourself. They are like a double-edged swords, and they can track your sleep. At the same time, you're just looking at them all, like during the night, you're not falling asleep because you're looking at your phone. I think productivity is like, there's so much emphasis on productivity. And an individual's, the emotional well-being, you are tying it to your like performance at work. And I think that's sort of, in a way, if you take evolutionary standpoint, we are still adjusting to it. Like, we haven't adjusted to it, and the fight or flight mechanism, then because of that, like, we are always in that like fight or flight state, and it's like we are stressed out because of that. That's causing a lot of burnout.
Yeah. And I think, at Genie Health, you're working in this personalized healthcare space. So zooming in on that, how do you see burnout and these stresses that we're seeing, daily now affecting our own, personal well-being and physical health? And how do you see personalized health playing a role in how we can continue to boost our immune systems and really kind of live a healthier lifestyle from the inside out?
Yeah, I think the way we work at the company and the viewpoint we have is your unique individuality. Everybody responds to the stress very differently, though we are living in the same like sort of environment. So there's a very interesting gene that we have in our analysis. We call it's COMT, C-O-M-T gene. So it's called warrior gene as well. So some people, if you see this stress is like this like rough sea that you have hit by this like waves, then some some people are like, okay, they were like, okay, I'm gonna ride this wave. They have like the positive attitude, which is like related to the COMT gene variation. Like some people take stress really well. They like, it's good for them. But many people, they cannot. They get crushed by these waves. So it is like, it's very, very important to know the individual differences. So based on that, you can easily see, right? Okay, I have low tolerance to these stressors. So when you are put under these emotional stressors, it's gonna be difficult for you. So you're gonna be like proactive in your approach. So in that, we suggest people to do more meditation to those people, have more positive visualization, be more optimistic, right? To the other people that they though like thrive a little bit on stress, but still they have the danger of that they don't do much unless they're put under stress. So like you will not like work unless there is deadline, tomorrow. Yeah. So I think it's very, very important. And during these COVID times, and most of people are stressed. Even if you are working out earlier, you cannot work out, you are stressed because of that. I think there's some general things that you have to take care of, your vitamin B, iron, rhodiola, right? But how much you need is like based on your individuality. I think a couple of other things, that movement is so important. So people, like your stress level is impacting your gut health, like this your brain body thing. So I think 3 common things we tell people: personalize your diet, like how much percentage of each vitamin or nutrient you need every day. Second is your movement, like we just look at your movement from your Apple Health or your Google Fit and just nudge you to move. Third thing is mostly how you cope with stress, like have meditation and more social in your approach.
And how important is the relationship between DNA individuality and some of the personalized health products that are offered through Genie?
Oh, it is super important, like because if you see the way we have been living, right? So it's like what actually inspired me to start this thing is like my friend died of cancer at 28, and I got obsessed with this idea, how can we know more about ourselves? We didn't know about what was going on inside. And then I came across the work of Dr. Roger J. Williams. So in 1956, he gave this concept of biochemical individuality. So like we all are different, like we have like a different fingerprints. Similar, we have biochemically, we are very different. So we took idea from there, and it was like 60 years, we are still not doing it. So, and DNA plays like a huge role, as I told you about the COMT gene. So, but it's like easy way to understand, there is no personalization without the DNA. And also you cannot have the 100% personalization just based on the DNA. So you have to start with the DNA, then you have to see somebody's like current health situation, and then you see how they live on day-to-day basis. So I think DNA is super important to start with, and there are huge variations that you can find.
Great. And Jeremy, building on that, this is how health has evolved. How has technology evolved to help us combat burnout? We're spending a lot more time at home, especially now with COVID. If people have kids, they're homeschooling. You've got your companies you're running, others that have multiple other things that are on the go all the time. How has technology and how does Mayday enable these people to really find the optimal work-life balance and avoid burnout and some of these kind of long-term effects that would happen because of it?
So I would say, ironically, a lot of the technology is not helping. It's actually the opposite. What we see is a lot of the tools that we use today are increasingly set up to make it easier for other people to take time. It's very distracting as well. So you've got products that are constantly notifying you throughout the day. It becomes very, very difficult to maintain focus and maintain an understanding of what it is you're trying to achieve, because the technologies are all trying to reach out and grab you. They're trying to hold you for as long as they can, and they don't really want you to leave. So when you look at the tools that we use, I actually think there's a need for more products that understand who you are and what you're trying to achieve. Products that understand, much like your DNA, like we're all very individual in terms of our personality, and I don't think any or very few of the products we use really understand who we are or what we're trying to do. So in terms of Mayday, like we really created a product to go out and understand the individual, understand and acknowledge that we're all very different. The demands on our time are very different. If you happen to be a parent and you've got kids at home, especially now given the outbreak, your work-life balance is very different than someone who might be just at home solo, kind of working on their own. And the tools we have don't really understand that. They don't understand how I'm feeling or what I should be focusing on. And that's really why we set out to kind of create something that could help you make better use of your time, unlike some of the other products that exist.
Yeah, so if you had to kind of give people one or two pieces of advice to determine and figure out how to manage and how to figure out a better work-life balance, what would be one or two things that you would give people tuning in today?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple. I'd say the first is you need to think of time as like a budget, and you need to be very aware of you misspending it. One of the great kind of things that people say about when you save money is pay yourself first. You should think of time in a very similar way. Put things on your calendar that are for you and respect that time. So when you block it out and you keep it there, don't give it away to somebody else. The second would really be acknowledging that time is limited, it's precious, and you need to say no sometimes. You need to acknowledge that you can't be in multiple places at once. You can't do multiple things at the same time. You sometimes need a break. You sometimes need to take a step back. So understanding what is of importance and what is not, and having the confidence to say, you know what, I'm not going to do this right now. And then at the end of the day, really kind of disconnect and try to do not less, but really focus on the quality. It's more about quality over quantity. And I would say a combination of all those things would go a long way to helping most people.
Nice. Well, Gurjot, Jeremy, thank you very much for being a part of this discussion and this conversation. And thank you for all of you that are joining us at home. And now over to Sunil for an exciting panel with our international companies. And for any of you that are looking to learn more about these two great companies or any of the other 8 companies, make sure you check out demoday.techstars.com. And now, over to you, Sunil.
It's been an incredibly long journey to get us here. And unfortunately, we're still not here. So this pandemic has taken us by surprise, and unfortunately, there is still a ways to go. But the most important thing for us all is to remain safe and to keep others safe. We know that COVID-19 shows no respect for national borders. So I wanted to start off by asking each of you to give us some sentiments on how the virus is being contained in your respective countries of Turkey, Nigeria, and Poland. Let's start with you, Hooman.
Yes, as far as I know, Turkish government has been able to contain this situation very well. The healthcare system here is very well. They are producing and even exporting ventilators to the rest of the world, and businesses have started opening up starting from 2 months ago, and we pretty much feel relatively safe here.
That's good to hear. Buchi, what is the situation in Lagos and even across Nigeria?
I'll say in Nigeria, we've been quite lucky, right? I would say, relatively speaking, we've not had too many cases. So right now we're at about 53,000, but of the 53,000, there have been 39,000 recoveries, right? So right now there's just a curfew in force, so you have to be home by 10 p.m. But besides that, the places of worship are opening up, restaurants are opening up, bars are opening up. I think it's just the clubs left, right? But then everyone is still trying to do their own part and then be responsible. Just stay indoors as much as you can. But businesses and places are opening up, so things are easing out here.
Okay, thank you, Buchi. And Sławek, finally to you. In Poland, your city of Krakow, or in Warsaw, or just anywhere in the country, or even Eastern Europe, how has the virus been progressing as of late?
Yeah, sure. So actually we had quite a good situation, I would say, from May to July. And then in July, I would say, the wedding season started off and we reopened, I think, a bit too early. And right now we have still incline. Literally a few days ago, we had a record of number of cases in a day. That was almost 900. Today we had 550. So it's definitely increasing right now more and more. And yeah, for example, my city of Krakow right now is that close from actually getting red listed as a orange warning zone. That's one thing. And then the second thing is that actually my district of the country has biggest number of cases right now, and I would say we're definitely heading right now for the second wave, unfortunately.
Well, our hopes are that we all stay safe and we have to get through this. I want to ask a question first to Hooman. So Hooman, you are an Iranian national living in Istanbul, Turkey. And along with your co-founder, Mujahid, you had big plans to move to the United States to continue building Artboard Studio into a world-dominating design SaaS company. One country's national politics, we find, can have severe impacts on entrepreneurs a world away. And I think that's what happened in your case, and what eventually led to something that I'm calling your pivot to Canada. So please do tell us a little more about how your path was mitigated from going directly to the US and end up coming here to Canada with us.
Well, since most of our customers are in North America, it only made sense for us to bring Artboard Studio to North America and grow it over there. And to be honest, this was not our first attempt to migrate to North America. We tried several times, but unfortunately, every time we hit closed doors just because of my nationality and because of the political situation between Iran's government and the US government. It's practically almost impossible for an Iranian national to be able to obtain a visa and travel to the US. So every time that I tried, it failed. Just as we were planning to give up on doing this, we decided to give it one more shot with Techstars Boulder. We applied for that and we got accepted to the program. But again, the same thing happened. I applied for a visa and it took them several months to even respond to give me an interview for my visa. So the managing director of Techstars Boulder decided to give our position to another startup. And on the final call, which was kind of like the goodbye call, they asked if there is anything they can do for us. And we just said, there is another program in Toronto, and could you introduce us to the people in Toronto? And we were actually shooting for the 2021 program. But after the first introduction to you, Sunil, we got into the Toronto program and we couldn't be happier about that. I just want to be able to do my job because I love my job and I'm good at it, and I believe I can do a lot better over there.
We're excited to have you and we can't wait for you to finally get here. Bhuti, a question for you. Now, not everybody fully understands and appreciates the world of cryptocurrency and digital financial assets. Many argue that we have reasonably well-functioning and stable banking systems in place, and thus there's no real need for digital currencies to transact with or simply to hold. But I think that's a very westernized point of view. And when you apply the lens of, say, Africa, with 1.3 billion people, an incredibly young population, all of whom have mobile phones and are using their devices to transact, I think it's fair to say that the argument is entirely different. And so now, given that you two are awaiting your arrival here in Canada, and we have a headquarters of Quidax here in Canada, I wanted to ask you, what are you doing to position yourself as an international financial company, an international banking company, to leverage both the market in Africa and here in North America?
Yes, no, I'll say you're right when you mentioned that it's a very westernized view, right? If you've ever been at the end of a situation where because of a payment, your family can't eat, right? Or your business can't thrive because you're unable to receive payment, you would realize that cryptocurrencies in Africa is not just a nice to have asset. It's not just an asset you can use to replace gold, right? But it's a transactional tool that people use to survive on every day, right? That's why we're making it our mission to make it very easy for people in Africa to buy and sell cryptocurrency using their local currency, right? And then beyond that, we've realized that Africa needs a new infrastructure for finance, right? For these businesses, over 120 million businesses that are struggling with payment settlement, for them to be able to thrive in the new economy, they need a new way to accept payments. They need a new way to move payments into and within Africa, right? So positioning as a Canadian headquartered company, what we're doing, what we're making our mission is to make that connection, right? Moving value into Africa, moving value within Africa as seamless as sending a text message. And that's what we've been working on. And it's such an exciting thing to be working on.
It is exciting. Sławek, now you live in a country that is an engineering and a software development powerhouse. I'm speaking about Poland. And that's the case even if most people in the Western part of the world don't realize it. What are you going to be able to do to leverage the engineering and the technical capacity that you have and will continue to grow across Poland with your pending arrival in Canada and your headquartering of the company CarScanner here in North America?
Yeah, sure. So actually, we're trying to get the best of two worlds. And what I mean by that is to actually have the best possible quality to price ratio on every dollar spent in R&D. And this will be achieved both with R&D grants coming from our government and from the European Union, as well as actually the fact that we have like very low costs of running the business in Poland. And we actually want to invent and produce in Poland, then ship it to a Canadian company, and then from Toronto actually scaling our business with North American business developers, marketers, and sales reps, as well as CFO, CSO, and so on and so on. So that way actually we can use our engineering expertise and at the same time get the best of the capitalist world in North America, where you guys know how to sell innovation, how to approach customers, and so on and so on. That's like our approach, and we're right now figuring out how to do it in a legal way concerning transfer pricing, withholding tax, and all those things that are there. But actually a very good thing is that Canadian government signed actually some kind of agreement with European Union, meaning that we can actually transfer some of our products and everything without the taxes, which is like super cool, without the duties and everything. This like helps us a lot.
Exciting. Okay, listen, I want to close it there. It's been incredible getting to know you all over the past many months. This wasn't the plan to have a distance-based Techstars, but we are expecting you here soon and we can't wait for you to arrive. So until then, please keep safe and we'll be together soon. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Anya, the CEO and co-founder of Lively.
And I'm Miriam, the co-founder and CEO of Babbly. We're here to talk about kind of what drove us to start our businesses, and there are so many similarities that I saw between our companies from day one, which was the fact that we were mission driven and we wanted to make an impact. Why don't you start telling us about what problem you saw in day one with Lively and your journey so far?
Sure. I think it goes back quite a while. So it all started about 10 years ago when my co-founder Adam Roach and I, we started working together and we created this advertising agency, the first of its kind here in Canada, to really focus on utilizing and celebrating freelance talent. This, for so long, it was a dirty little secret where freelancers were in the background and they were never really celebrated for all that they do, all the expertise that they bring to businesses. And over the course of the last 10 years, that whole perception has changed, and business survival is so reliant on freelance talent, particularly now in the world today. So one of the things that we recognized in working with this group was just these extreme challenges that they were faced with. All these things that are just not found in the traditional world of employment. And this ranged from funding and accessing group health and dental benefits, as well as paid days off. It's not a thing. If you're on your own, off time is off time. Not to mention the whole idea of being treated like a line of credit by these companies. It was like all of a sudden freelancers were credit cards, and it was an awful thing. So we really felt like we couldn't do too much outside of our world in communications, and we wanted to tackle this problem in a meaningful way and start moving the needle for this community that was just massively exploding, right? And that's where Lively was really born from. It was that feeling of working alongside freelancers, but also being an entrepreneur. You know what it's like facing the world alone and getting these things established. It's really, really hard. So we're here to create a better working world for freelancers, and that was really where that need and that drive for Lively first began. And I love the Babbly story, so please share with us.
Yeah, I guess very different space, but it was driven by a pain that I experienced myself. About 2 years ago, I was doing something very different, and I realized that my son, who was then 2 years old, wasn't meeting his developmental milestones. It wasn't really something that I realized overnight. It was probably 12 months leading up to that realization, that he wasn't saying, for instance, mama or dada when he was around a year old. And then, you know, after months and months of having to fight with my pediatrician, Googling, trying to, you know, find answers from Facebook groups with other moms and learning from their experiences, I finally, you know, went back to my doctor and I said, nothing is happening. Like, we've got to do something about this. And at that point, she referred us to a program where they train parents to essentially coach their children and play with them in a specific way. It took us about a year to get that service, and not only it was terrible, it was just inhumane. I mean, when I think about, and you know, meanwhile, we were fortunate enough to be able to pay for private therapy on the side, but through that experience, I came to, you know, hundreds of thousands of stories of other parents who end up either falling through the cracks of the healthcare because their concern wasn't taken seriously day one, or were referred to one of, you know, the government-backed programs, but had to wait for 12 to 18 months while their child is having tantrums every day, head banging, and they feel helpless. So that was the moment for me that I think I would love to get to that point with Lively as well, but to me there was a day where I was looking at my phone and again Googling things, and I thought, gosh, like, I had my phone with me the entire time. We have a smart speaker at home which is listening to our conversations 24/7.
Super creepy.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Oh, wonderful.
at the same time, like, none of these devices were able to tell me, you know, that there is a red flag, while we have this whole body of literature in the early development space where we know children go through the different stages. So long story short, the personal pain point kind of ignited a spark and led me to figure out a way to help other parents not have to go through that journey or through that pain. And find other resources. I'm curious, what was like, was there a moment or was there a person out of all the freelancers that you guys came across to at Lively that was that moment?
I think it was built up over time. You know, when we first got into the space, working with the top talent in Toronto, you know, it was eye-opening that these people were so in demand and so required that they weren't treated as well as someone would treat an employee, particularly in the world of payments and celebration of their talents and all of those kinds of great things. And I think that it kind of mounted as we worked with this group, and it came to a point where we implemented all of these policies, procedures, and methods to make this the case for our business. Mm-hmm. And we weren't able to influence outside of our own walls. And there's nothing worse than having to look someone in the face and they're saying, oh my gosh, I can't take this job because I have to like work on this one continually, and I'm waiting for that payment, and I'm struggling with this. God forbid someone have to go to the dentist. And that's an awful thing to face on a daily basis. And this is when this big moment happened for us. Mm-hmm. And even with our own lives, you know, I think there's a desperate need for flexibility these days. There's a desperate need for really qualified, productive, talented people. COVID has just changed everything, and we're in a very unique and transformative time for how business is done in a working capacity, but also the relationships that exist. And we're really focused on solving very human challenges. And I love that about Babbly as well. You know, there's businesses that have impact, that move that needle. And I think it's so important now that we focus on the human side of that. And that's where business needs to go today, in having a conscience of what's happening on the independent level, but as an organization and together as an economy. So, you know, I know that parenting amidst COVID must be an interesting time for you as well, and I'd love to hear about your thoughts.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, parents are spending countless hours with their baby, and I think, you know, startup journey is always long and notorious, but being able to, especially these days and these months during COVID, being able to hear the stories of parents being able to move the needle for their child, and, you know, seeing the improvements that the child has made in front of their eyes has been very rewarding. So, yeah, I think I can't, you know, agree more that we need to build a more human future, and especially now it's more and more relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks, Miriam. You know, I think there's been a great, wonderful relationship established here at Techstars between our companies, and all the best. And back to you, Sunil.
Well, thank you very much, Anya and Miriam. That was an incredible conversation. And as a parent, I too am thinking a lot, especially right now with back to school just on the horizon, and you know how we're all going to handle that safely for our families and for society at large. I want to turn to Joe Parento. Joe, it's fantastic to have you here. Fable. What I love about Fable is it's a direct-to-consumer brand. We don't always see direct-to-consumer brands kind of take off in Canada. Here we have one. It's a fantastic company in the making, and really it just started at the late part of 2019, and already you've shown incredible traction. What's the underlying reason why you think you've been off to such a strong start?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a few components, obviously. Like you said, we just launched in November, and we started picking things up in May is when things started to really ramp up. And I think that the pandemic has definitely played an effect in it. Really early on when the pandemic hit, there was a lot of conversation around what should you do with your business. And I know me and you had even spoken about this. And I had actually talked to one of the founders of Article, another direct-to-consumer brand out of Vancouver, and he had expressed to me that to actually step on the gas. He had an insight that a lot of brands were pulling away, they were slowing down, they were kind of going into shelter mode and preparing for this storm. But with the brands that are home-based, like dinnerware, it's actually a great time to just like actually step on the gas, turn on more channels, and really start to market yourself even more and in more ways. So that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it as pandemic businesses that are kind of benefiting from the boom, I can think of, you know, lumber for backyard deck construction, sweatpants, and maybe anything for the home, like curated artisanal dinnerware. Yours comes from halfway across the world, from Portugal, and I know there's a story for why that is, and there's also some benefits coming from having these Portuguese artisans create your line of tableware and dinnerware. Can you tell us about that?
For sure. Yeah, when we started Fable, we were looking all over the world to create the best dinnerware we possibly could. We searched all over Asia and in lots of places in Europe especially. And it turns out that the Portuguese have a deep history in ceramic creation. And I flew over there. I remember July last year flying over there, visiting everyone. And the experience there, the hospitality was just, it was amazing. It was just, I remember getting handed espresso cups and getting to just enjoy a conversation with everyone. And I think it was at that point we knew that they were going to be great partners and people we wanted to continue to work with. And as it turned out, as we started exploring even from a business venture, that Canada and Portugal both actually have a duty-free trade, which actually is a huge benefit to us right now and something we're very fortunate to have.
You know, another thing that struck me when I first met you, and it was, you know, over the internet, even pre. We were practicing for COVID because we were talking from, you were in Vancouver, I was here in Toronto, we got to know each other a little bit. One thing that struck me immediately was your own background. So there's 3 co-founders, you and Max and Tina, and both you and Max worked at a very well-known, successful Techstars company from previous accelerator days. And in fact, Tina's husband was a co-founder of that very company. I'm talking about Bench. Yeah. Did that give you some, did that prove to be a bit of an advantage in terms of your understanding of like what to expect with an accelerator program?
I would say so, yeah. You know, when I started at Bench a month before Max had actually, and we were some of the earlier on employees. And I remember talking to Jordan and Ian and how fondly they thought of the Techstars program. They went to Techstars New York quite a few years ago now. And it was something that became a goal of ours, was to attend Techstars and be a part of this program. And I think that they gave us a really good understanding of what to expect throughout the program. And as we began applying for the program, I remember talking to Ian at a dinner party with Jordan about actually like what the program was like for him. And then also their friend Tim, he had attended the program down in Seattle as well. So it was an interesting conversation where a lot of people were talking about the program, what they were able to take from it. And I felt very much more equipped with what to expect and what the 3 months would be like.
Yeah. And another thing that I've been quite impressed by is how much geographic coverage you have already within the company. So as I mentioned, we met when you were in Vancouver. Tina, Max, yourself were all living in Vancouver. Now Tina lives here in Toronto with her husband. You are talking about moving to Lisbon for a little while at least, to be closer to your supply and really understand the product and what can come from it. And you have a team in the US as well. So this is a lot of growth, again, for a company that just got off the ground in late 2019.
Yeah. For us, we knew that the direct-to-consumer space here in Canada is new, and it's like almost at its infancy for a lot of brands. And it was important to us that we'd be able to attract and retain the best talent in the world. And with our suppliers already being in Portugal and us exploring suppliers across all of Europe, we thought that there's no reason that we needed to be in one central location. So Max and his fiance wanted to stay in Vancouver. Tina and Jordan wanted to move to Toronto, and myself, like you said, Portugal. So I came here to Toronto, and we'll be headed off to Portugal hopefully here in the next month or so. We also do have a team member in Montreal, our creative director, and we have our head of products actually based out of New York.
Not bad at all for a guy whose roots I think are from Regina, and you really started to capture not only the entire country of Canada, but now the world. I'll just close off by saying I'm incredibly excited to watch the next chapter of growth in Fable, and I think with the brands that we've seen take flight in short order, companies like Away and Casper and Warby Parker, Missouri and others, I mean, there's no reason to believe that you will not be the category leader in the dinnerware and homeware space, and I'm really excited to watch you take off.
Thanks, I appreciate that, Sunil.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. Incredibly excited by Fable. I'm going to now turn it back to my partner in crime, Tarek Hadadin, who is going to take us into the next session here at Demo Day.
In this panel, I am joined by two founders who are redefining the industries in which they operate. Milad, the co-founder and CEO of Peakage, and Jack, the co-founder and CEO of Orbiseed. So guys, since we are talking about disrupting traditional industries, maybe we'll start by looking 5 to 10 years ahead. How do you see disruption affecting your industries, and what will the future look like? And maybe Jack, we'll start with you.
Absolutely, thank you, Tarek. So in the next 5-10 years, we'll see a huge change in the commercial property industry, which is the industry we're disrupting. And this is fundamentally what really made Orbiseed start with. We'll see two major trends. The first trend is that 25% of the risk engineers serving the commercial property industry will be retiring soon. So there will be a shift in management into the younger generations. This will also see a shift in how people will be focusing on commercial property insurance assessment. So we'll see more data-driven decision making. We'll see more clarity and transparency in how insurance premiums are calculated. And third of all, we'll see more strict guidelines on what good insurance means. Secondly, we'll see a change from supply side demand to demand side for the insurance industry. There will be more insurance buildings asking for insurance than there will be insurance carriers. What this means is there will be more strict guidelines, and property owners now will have to follow a more strict guidelines, or they may face a more expensive insurance premium or no carrier willing to insure their buildings at all. And betting on those, we are going to see a more data-driven approach to commercial property insurance, very similar to what car insurance and auto insurance has been going through in the next 5 to 10 years.
Excellent. So lots to look forward to. And Milad, what about the product sampling space? How do you see the future of that industry being redefined by technology?
Right. I think while most of the brands will take the direct-to-consumer approach and e-commerces will replace the brick-and-mortar retailers, consumers will still look to try and experience products before buying them. Consumers still want to see how does that energy bar taste or how does that makeup look on their skin. So for a lot of CPG verticals like food and beverages or cosmetics and beauty, sentiment plays and influences actually consumer decisions greatly. This is a great opportunity to build a long-lasting relationship with consumers at home, and consumers will continue to ask for trying products at home. So I think the retail experience will eventually evolve to consumers' home, and experiential marketing will become more data-driven, targeted, and personalized. I also think that the search for products will replace by a mix of highly personalized product recommendations, and product testing at home.
So kind of digging a bit deeper into that, many people say that industry disruption really starts with unhappy customers. So how has this concept of customer experience and user experience informed what you're doing at Peakage, and how do you see that as an advantage to what you're building?
I think, yeah, you're right. A lot of people think that disruption starts with technology, but disruption actually starts with unhappy customers. Customers are the ones behind decisions to adopt or reject new technologies or new products. Disruptive startups, they enter market not just by stealing customers from incumbents, but by identifying the customer needs that are not satisfied and trying to create a fulfilling experience for customers. For example, in product sampling space, brands have struggled for years to run their product sampling initiatives. Though product sampling is a powerful marketing tool, but it was never efficient or targeted. And the incumbent services were mostly catered towards enterprises, leaving a lot of mid-tier businesses behind. So when we try to address those shortcomings by adding data to product sampling and making product sampling targeted and data-driven and accessible actually to every brand, we got a lot of interest and huge reactions from the customers. Disruption is a customer-driven phenomenon, and I believe that behind every disruption is unhappy customers, that a new technology or new startup is addressing those changes. Many of the fast-growing startups, they don't necessarily have access to more or better innovative technology, but what they do have is the ability to deliver and execute faster what exactly the consumer or customer wants.
Excellent. And now, so Jack, back to Orbiseed. Traditional industries are really adopting more and more technology. So how do you see the future and the relationship between the people doing the work and the technology that's enabling to do the work evolving?
That's a great question, Tarek. We created technology as a tool to make our work more efficient and for us to be more productive. However, the tool is useless without the person that's using it. So what we'll see is that instead of changing in what people are doing, we'll see a change in how they're doing the work. So what this means is that we created computers to handle more file management. We created the spreadsheet to handle the manual and repetitive calculations. And now the AI is taking away a lot of that simple mental decision making that's currently done by junior workers. In the future, we'll be seeing more process. The people with the experience will still remain the same. They'll be needed more than ever to lead this technology change. However, the new generation that's coming into this workspace will have to change the way they work in order to fit into the technology adoption. They can no longer follow the steps their parents or grandparents, and instead must focus on one of the four key areas. That's technology expertise, customer and user experience, creative problem solving or solution architecture, and then finally, focus on process management and change management.
Great. Well, Milad, Jack, thank you so much for joining us with this panel. And for everyone at home, thank you for joining us as well. Make sure to check demoday.techstars.com to hear more about these two great companies and the other 8 great founders that we have. And now, back to you, Sunil.
Thank you, Tarek. It was very important to us for you to get a chance to meet our founders in conversation with each other. We are so happy that we were able to do that. Now, I'd like to turn things over to Janet Bannister from Real Ventures. Janet, an accomplished athlete in her own right, is going to host a panel chat featuring the partners of Next Ventures, including Lionel Conacher, a fellow Canadian, and the one and only Lance Armstrong.
Sunil, thank you so much. It is great to be here today. I'm here with Lionel and Lance Armstrong from Next Ventures. As many of you know, Lance Armstrong is a globally known cyclist, was at one point one of the most recognized athletes of the world, and Lionel is an accomplished multi-sport athlete, as well as having a very storied background in leading financial services firms. Lance and Lionel together founded Next Ventures, which invests in early stage technology companies that are dedicated to improving people's health and wellness. So today they're here with me to talk about their firm and what they've learned working together and how they're leveraging their past stories, their past backgrounds to do what they're doing today. So would love to kick it off with you, Lance. Lance, tell us about your journey into venture capital and how you have leveraged background, your skills into what you're doing now.
Well, first of all, thanks for having us. My background in health and wellness really goes back 30 plus years. It was at one point, or for many of those years, it was a job, but it hasn't been a job for better part of a decade. But it's still a space that I'm super passionate about. I think that, and I know the data shows that more and more people around the world care about this space. The birth of our fund and our relationship, Lionel and I's relationship, including Melanie Strong, was really born out of creating content and building back this massive audience, and then as a byproduct of that, just seeing a lot of really interesting deal flow in this space. So stuff that was authentic to this and unique to health and wellness. And so, that's when LC and I just got together and thought, a lot of this is interesting. Feels like, as we like to call it, feels like the beginnings of a flywheel. And let's go build a fund, build a team, raise a fund, and invest in the best opportunities.
And what do you view as Lance, you've brought to the table in terms of your, as I said, you both have, or all three of you have very varied backgrounds, and would love to hear from you in terms of, your career in professional athletics and how the lessons that you learned doing that and how you're applying those today.
Yeah, I think on a broader scale, we view ourselves as a three-legged stool. I bring my experience in the sports and health and wellness world. I bring the expertise and the experience in the content world. And also, as I said earlier, just a deep passion. Lionel obviously spent his entire career in financial services. So when it comes to evaluating businesses, deal terms, valuations, all of these things that, obviously I didn't spend any time doing that as a professional cyclist. And then Melanie Strong, who's really, we like to refer to her as our ninja. She's her expertise and experience in branding, marketing, messaging is kind of unparalleled. She was at Nike for 20 years and ran brands, built brands, revived brands. So we feel like that, again, that three-legged stool is a nice complement to each other.
Lionel, tell us a little bit about, from your perspective, how you met Lance and how it came to be that you two, along with Melanie, started Next Ventures.
Sure. So I met Lance about 20 years ago. I got involved with his foundation originally back when it was the Lance Armstrong Foundation, before Livestrong, and I had a young partner of mine ultimately passed away from cancer, and so went down and raised a bunch of money for both the LAF and then also for Princess Margaret Hospital in Toronto, and that's when I met Lance. Initially through Canadian pro cyclist Steve Bauer, who's a friend of mine and who had raced with Lance on the Motorola team, and so then from there just kind of crisscrossed with him through pro cycling, and then ultimately I had founded an investment bank in Canada that I sold to Thomas Weisel Partners, and Tom had owned the team that Lance rode for, and so Lance was a logical person to call and ask for advice on dealing with Tom, and I got some good advice from him, and so we just have kind of crisscrossed for a long time over the years.
So tell me, Lance, you talk about how you, Lionel, and Mel all have very different skill sets, and diversity is something that we talk a lot about in terms of whether it be at the boardroom, whether it be a founding team, whether it be a management team. Would love to hear from you how you leverage the diverse backgrounds of all three of you and how you make that work well, because I think if you've got a group of diverse people, it can either be terrific or it can be really bad if there's not that mutual trust and mutual respect for each other's point of view. And would love to understand from you, what you've learned along the way in terms of working on such a diverse team.
Well, to start, I mean, fortunately for us, it's not been really bad. It's been really good. So that's been cross our fingers that continues. It's worth noting that we're living at a time. The last 6 months of all of our lives is it's been a total game changer for all of us in terms of interacting with each other, taking meetings, reviewing deals. This is, nobody ever could have predicted this. I guess the silver lining was this is how we were working pre-COVID. Lionel in the Bay Area, myself in Austin, and Mel in Portland. We were used to that, and it is as unfortunate as the pandemic has been. It hasn't been an adjustment for us. It's just been status quo. In terms of interacting with either potential LPs or existing portfolio companies, I think we're all very mindful and respectful of each other's strengths and weaknesses. None of us pretend to be somebody that we're not. None of us, as we say, get out of our lane. And I think Lionel defers to me on things. I defer to him. He'll defer to Mel. It's there's never been a conflict there on or any territorial conflict on those lanes.
That's good.
We also, when Lance and I started it, we knew we needed to have a third person that really understood branding and marketing, because that was not one of either of our strengths, and de facto the types of companies that we were going to be investing in, not all directly consumer facing, but all very important around brand positioning in the marketplace, whether it's a consumer product or even if it's a B2B platform in the telemedicine space, like one of our companies, SteadyMD. And so we set about trying to find the best person we could possibly find for that role. We're incredibly fortunate to come across Mel. We weren't specifically looking for a woman as our third partner. But I can tell you both, from my standpoint, not to put words in Lance's mouth, that Mel has brought completely different perspective to how he and I generally look at things, and I think it makes us a way better team because of it. And as Lance says, we all kind of overlap. We all have a huge passion for this space, but we all respect each other enormously, and allow each of us to excel at what we do well. So it's worked out really well.
It sounds like I find with the best teams that I've seen, they have common vision, common passion, and they have distinct skill sets, and they're tied together with that mutual trust and respect.
Yeah, no, I would say that's incredibly important, and something that COVID has caused us to work harder at it. Being in 3 different areas geographically, and all really important areas to the space that we're investing in. One of the questions that potential LPs have asked us a lot is, how does that work, and how have you been able to make it work? before COVID, we would get together for at least a week a month, whether it was in Austin or Aspen or the Bay Area. When COVID hit, we haven't actually gotten together since COVID hit. We're getting together in Aspen in a couple weeks' time for a week, and we're going to resume our monthly practice of doing that. But largely driven by Mel. She's really forced us to take time to just be partners and share what's going on, in our personal lives and be supportive of each other. And I think, largely, driven by her lead, we've worked harder at it than we probably otherwise would. So I think, I said it earlier today in another meeting that we were on, that I think we've come out of this period of time much stronger than we otherwise would have, which has been kind of interesting because you wouldn't necessarily expect that.
Yeah, that is interesting. Thanks so much for sharing. Just sticking on the subject of sort of your team and composition of Next Ventures, I noticed that you have about 13 very accomplished people on your advisory board. And interested in how that works again for a lot of both venture capital funds or startups. They are looking at having advisory boards, and would be interested in your thoughts in terms of how you selected members to be on your advisory board, how that works with such a large group of people.
Yeah, it's actually not, on a relative basis, it's not a large group of people. And it's one of the things that when we first put the fund together, we decided we wanted to have an advisory board. I was coming from a private equity firm that had 30 advisors. And my experience there was that nobody in the partnership really reached out to and used the advisory board. So they ended up being, kind of faces on a website and a bio, and so we were concerned about that, and so we decided to go with what we think was a smaller group. But Lance, maybe talk about just how we arrived at some of the folks and the why behind why we chose each of them.
Yeah, I won't bore you with all 13, but just on a generally speaking, when we think of health and wellness, we then also think about performance. Obviously, and we speak to this a lot, but if you have a marathon of 40,000 people, the winner cares about performance. The person who got last place also cares about performance, and all the 40,000 people in between care about it. So then we took it a step further. And in our minds collectively, our opinion was that the true tip of the spear is the military, the special forces. That is where true human performance and optimization starts. They see technology way before we do, whether that's a lens, a fabric, a food, a soul, anything. So then, to us, you start with the special forces, which we have represented on the advisory board. And then you just trickle it back down into the high performance athlete, to the general population. We wanted it obviously to be a diverse board with male and female, but also people from all walks of life. And so, several very successful entrepreneurs on there that have built really big businesses, sold them off, and are now doing it again. But just people that we can pull into this process or insert into the process in the portcos as they need help, right? And so it could be a Robin Thurston that started MapMyFitness and sold that to Under Armour for $200 million and was then their CTO for 5 years. Or it could be Charlie Denson, who was at Nike for 30 years, co-president for 10. It's just we've got a deep bench there, but just to say it again, I mean, it really does start at what we view as the tip of the spear.
Hey, Lance, building on your how you just described, I loved how you described that in terms of, hey, everybody in the marathon cares about their performance. And so, tell us, how does that lead into your investment thesis and what you're looking for in types of companies that you're investing in with Next, building on that concept about, human performance and people caring about sort of getting the best out of themselves?
Well, I'll make it real simple. Since we're in the venture capital business, and our job and responsibility and fiduciary responsibility is to return capital to our LPs. If I think this is safe to say, if we saw an idea that was absolutely amazing, a complete game changer, but only the winner would benefit from that, that is not an opportunity or a deal that we would pursue. We have to have things, and Lionel speaks to this a lot and maybe better than me. If this doesn't trickle down to the everyday person, to the general population, as people who are stewards of other people's capital and expect a return on their money, we have to, our opportunities have to be selling into the body of 40,000. Again, using the marathon as an example, I mean, if 40,000 people start, there's only 50 that think they're going to win. That is a very small market that we would be out of business before the word go. And so it really has to transcend and be available and relative to the general population.
Yeah, I like to say we look at everything through the lens of the high performance athlete, and then we step back and we ask ourselves, how does this translate to the general population? And if it doesn't, no matter how cool it might be, we'll buy it for ourselves and use it, but we won't invest in it. And we've been very disciplined about that. The other thing that I would say is that Lance is so focused on performance and how things work. He's a closet scientist kind of guy, and so everything that we actually try an amazing number of things, and one of our very first things that we do as part of our due diligence process, which is a little ass backwards, but it's how we do it and it works really well, is we say, we don't want to meet you, we don't want to see your deck, send us the product, send us the service, let us try it, and then we go, if we ourselves would use it, we then dive in and start doing our due diligence. And that's worked really, really well for us. It's been amazing to me, the number of, we've had, since we started the fund, we've had over 800 opportunities that we've looked at that have come in through our deal funnel, all different ways. And our standard response is send us a product. It's amazing to me how many companies don't bother sending you the product. Like they just self-select out. It's really,
they don't have the product ready, or they
don't have it ready, or they don't, that it's not, it's not what they, it's in beta form or whatever it is. Like, it's amazing how much self-selection there ends up being.
Interesting. Now you talk about hey, you'll only invest in those products where you see, hey, it's going to go beyond that 50 person, the top 50 people, elite, and into the masses. How do you assess that? Because again, that's a challenge for a lot of early stage companies or early stage investors. Is okay, is this product going to sort of cross the chasm and go from a few select, very small target to much broader? And I'd love to hear how you think about that.
Well, we already start to have insight on that because, based on, our thesis, we're not investing in whiteboard ideas or just even great ideas. We invest in companies that are in the marketplace, that are real businesses led by real teams that have traction and have some sort of vision for the next, call it 2 to 4 years. And so, I think it's safe to say we've made 9 investments thus far. The ones we have, they will all transcend past that filter that Lionel laid out.
Speaking of which, would love to hear about one or 2 or 3 of your companies that you're particularly excited about.
I'll go first and talk about Aura. So we were early investors in Aura Ring, and I'll just try to hold it up here. So Aura Ring it's actually, a lot of folks are aware of this brand. We were fortunate to get into their A round and then participate in the B round. It's the best sleep tracking device commercially available. It's a remarkable piece of technology. It's not without competitors. Their competitors are slightly different in that they're primarily wrist-based. So whether that's the Apple Watch, the Fitbit, the Whoop, Aura's made the bet on the finger, and so we bet alongside them. it's interesting because it came on the market as a sleep tracking device. The reality is it actually tests hundreds of data points throughout the day and the night, whether it be obviously sleep, so it's all sleep cycles, movement, heart rate variability, respiratory rate, and body temp. So body temp I say last because it's really, for them, it's also been a blessing based on, or because of COVID and obviously what happens to your body temp whenever you're going to get sick, but especially if you're getting COVID. This literally fell on their laps. They were seeing loyal users that were closely monitoring their body temp and realizing, watching it go up and up and up, and then boom, all of a sudden being diagnosed with COVID. It was just a byproduct of making a really badass piece of equipment. After that, then they formed a partnership with the NBA, who's now resumed play. Every player, coach, staff member has the ring, so they're closely monitoring all of these people for their core temp throughout the day. Just to give you some of the numbers, this company in 2019 projected to do 25 million in sales. They did 34. Looks like they're going to push 100 million in sales this year in 2020. So it's for us, it's been a great investment. And also, they really, I hate to say it for a lot of people, but they've actually benefited during these crazy times.
I think the one I would pick is one of our most recent investments, a company called Kinetics, which is out of Calgary, founded by an amazing woman named Brianne Everett, who I met 2 years ago through one of our advisory board members, Mike Smith, out in Calgary. And at that time, Brianne had started a company called Orpix, which had developed an insole sensor specifically targeted to the diabetic market and to help diabetics who often have very poor feeling in their feet and get sores and sepsis, which leads to amputation and or significant balance problems. And she had, not on purpose, but somewhat inadvertently created a foot sensor system that was leaps and bounds ahead of every other foot sensor on the market. And so 2 years ago, we talked to her about maybe taking it and applying it to sports, and if she wanted to create a subsidiary company of Orpix directed exclusively at the sports market, that would be something that we would be interested in. And so she started working on that. We ended up investing into Kinetics in the spring, a couple of months ago. She's doing amazing with this company. Her whole idea is to essentially not become an insole company, but to become an OEM provider of the circuit board that goes inside the insole. And so she's partnered with the likes of Nike and Adidas and Superfeed and Scholl's Wellness. And we're really, really excited about that. And one of the interesting things that they seem to have been able to solve the problem on is measuring power in running, which revolutionized cycling when power came into cycling. Gosh, that's probably 20 years ago now. I'm going to say 20 years ago. I hate to say it.
Time flies. Don't say that again.
Anyway, so that's one we're really excited about, and as a Canadian, I love the fact that we've invested in a couple of Canadian companies, and in this one in particular.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Just one final question for each of you. Elina, what is one of the biggest lessons that you've learned in terms of as you built a venture capital firm?
Well, firstly, I'll say a couple of things. One, kind of like many of the entrepreneurs that we meet that start companies, if they knew how hard it was going to be, they would never have done it. And so I think when Lance called me with this crazy idea, 2 years ago, and we decided to kind of go off on this path to do this, I really had no idea how hard it was going to be to raise the money, and as a first-time fund, and without a team having worked together and a track record and all that stuff. And I'm enormously proud of what we've achieved so far, and the companies that we've invested in particularly. So that was one thing that I was surprised by. I think the biggest thing I've learned as a venture capitalist, and having come from, early in my career, large public companies, and then kind of moved down and down and down, into private equity for a decade. There's a big difference as a private equity investor where you control the company and how you influence the management team to do what you want them to do, to venture investing where you're typically investing, in our case, late seed Series A, we're normally around 10% of the cap structure, and while we often have a board seat and have certainly board observer rights, to try and guide and influence the CEO and his or her team, and try and help them and do it in a positive, kind of cheerleader mentor way, has been a very interesting transition for me particularly, and something that I need to get better at, and hopefully will get better at as time goes on. But that's the most founders are very strong-willed people and have very clear ideas about what they want to do and how they want to do it, and so to try and be supportive and suggest things, but not necessarily expect that they're going to do them. That's been the biggest thing I think I've learned so far.
Yeah, well, I know it's an ongoing art to. It's both a privilege and an art and a challenge to get to work with entrepreneurs every day.
Yeah, it's true.
Lance, you've now worked with a lot of entrepreneurs at companies in your portfolio. What is one piece of advice that you would give in general to founders, early stage founders, based on what you have seen in your experience in working with many successful founders?
Oh, God. Well, let me just say, if I would have gotten the previous question and answered it, Lionel stole every bit of my answer. It was, and this applies to us as we raise the fund. It applies to young companies as they try to raise funds to launch. It's just always harder than you'd ever thought. I mean, he and I could probably answer this question in unison. I mean, we thought it would be easy. It's been a complete root canal, daily root canal. But hey, we're getting there, and I think for a first-time fund, we're ahead of schedule. And then, also I'll get to your question in a sec, but hit Lionel's point of people. I think when we first started, in my head, at least early days, it really started with product, then it went to brand, and then it went to people. I was actually at a YPO speech here in Aspen probably a year ago, and a very successful venture guy named Brad Huff came and spoke, and he's with the Foundry Group in Boulder. But so their filters go just like this. So here I am thinking product, brand, people. They have 4 filters at the Foundry. It goes like this: the people, the people, the people, the idea. So with that, I mean, I think for any entrepreneur, I mean, because when you're building a team, then you're hiring people, and then you're managing them, and you're managing your time. And and Lionel can back me up here, but we see it all the time with founders that want to be involved in every little thing. If you are building a team and hiring the best people to do certain things, let them do those things, right? Be the founder, be the visionary, be whatever you are set out to do and be. But if you're not the marketing guy, if you're not the sales guy, if you're not and you think you're hiring the best people, let them do that. And then they obviously can report to you. But don't get bogged down. We see so many people that they're involved in everything. I don't know how these people sleep, honestly. I mean, they need like 48 hours in a day. And to me, it's early days mistakes for them, but the quicker they can hire the best people and delegate and trust them, way better.
That's great. Great advice. Lionel and Lance, thank you so much. Really enjoyed our conversation today. and appreciate you coming on and sharing your experiences.
Well, that was just amazing. Thank you, Janet, for such an interesting conversation. I, for one, can't wait to introduce Genie Health to Lance and Lionel, as I think it represents exceptional Canadian innovation and such a nice fit for their backgrounds. And as you said, Lance, it's all about people, 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 and idea. They have that. And that's a wrap. Techstars Toronto 2020. Virtual or otherwise, it was an incredible performance, and the founders adapted and in fact surpassed all expectations. Please connect with us by email or LinkedIn or Twitter, even by phone, and soon in person. Stay healthy and stay safe, and we will be together again soon.